Yes.
We live?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
Yay!
Hi,
Hello,
everybody.
everyone.
Hi.
This is so wild. Hello,
Alright.
chat. This has all gone a bit crazy.
I'm so excited.
Look
Welcome,
into the chat.
everyone,
Look at the chat, yeah.
to our little after party event. We've all been watching episode 1 of Love Victor. If you couldn't join us, that's fine. But now we're here to talk about a bit of everything, from Love Victor, Love Creekwood, and everything in between. And obviously we're joined by the wonderful Becky, which is the hugest privilege. Thank you so much for joining us.
I am so happy and honored to be here. I am so grateful to the two of you for hosting, and I'm so grateful for all of y'all who are here with us. I cannot believe how many people are here.
I know.
Amazing. Familiar faces. I see some of my favorite artists and people in the comment section.
My favorite people in the world. So, Axel, do you want to quickly run down who you are? Because everyone knows who Becky is, but who are these two?
Yeah, well, I'm Axel. I'm at Axel Diaz US, and I'm just a huge fan of the show and the Simonverse in general. And yeah, I just want to put something with logs together to celebrate it, you know, and come together.
Okay, so Axel is majorly downplaying himself. He is one of my favorite people in the world, and he's incredible. So you should all go and follow him. I guess that leaves me. Hi, I'm Lux. I am an artist. You can find me on Instagram. My @ is illustrations. And a lot of people don't notice that there's a pun of my name in there. So, you know, don't just search up illustrations. Don't just search that up. But yeah, I mainly draw art of Becky's amazing characters. That's kind of what I've established myself as doing. So now that's out of the way, we've both got questions for you. We've come up with some ourselves, and then we went to the people on Instagram, but we'll go with the ones that we made first.
Yeah.
Axel, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so my first question was, what do you think Simon's reaction was to getting Victor's DM? Like, how do you imagine his reaction was?
This is such a good question. All right, I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm going to say panic. And like, I mean, like, actually, like, I feel like I get a lot of messages that are kind of somewhat in the vein of what Victor might write to Simon. And, you know, especially if I were, you know, like a sophomore in college, and knowing Simon's Spear and just like what an absolute hot mess disaster of a person our boy is, I'm going to guess that, like, you know, there's a lot of panic and worrying that he is going to F it up. And he probably immediately consulted with his boyfriend, who's a lot more level-headed than he is.
Tell me about it. Like, going off of that question, like, I just wanted to shout out Felix or at Grey Sky Luna on Instagram. They did an amazing interpretation of Simon's reaction and going to Graham about it. And go and look at it because it's incredible.
Exactly it. Yeah. I'm modifying my answer is like literally the way it plays out is the way it was drawn in Felix's comic there.
Yeah. So go and see it.
I saw it and I was like, oh my God, that is so Simon.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the most Simon thing I've ever seen.
Yep.
So my first question is just a general one. How has the last month been for you? What with Love Victor and then Love Creekwood towards the end of June? Surely it's been insane. I mean, it's been insane for all of us, but I can't imagine what it's been like for you.
It's a very like weird and unique time, I know, for everybody. And I feel like this is probably a fairly common experience among authors who have had anything coming out, or I guess any creatives who have had anything releasing in the last couple of months, where, you know, it is all the the kind of strangeness of, you know, releasing something into the public and like hoping it does well, and like, you know, to whatever extent, like performing and you know, just everything that goes into a book launch. But the disconnect with real life is even more pronounced, I think, because it's not just like, oh, like there's this online version of me who like is going to the GLAAD Awards or something, and then real life me is like in Target with my kids. It's like now it's like real life me like dreams of going back to Target. Like all I want is to go back to Target. Real life me like doesn't leave the house, and I'm, you know, like I am. I mean, I go to the mailbox and stuff, you know. Like, I don't know.
I mean, that's considered a huge outing now. Enjoy it.
But yeah, it's like so. So on one hand, it's been very exciting. On the other hand, it's been very like, you know, I'm home a lot, and I have 2 young kids, and you know, my little family of 4 plus a cat are here all the time. So, no.
I feel like that's like good to hear, not just for obviously us learning about you, but anyone else in like the creative space. Because I think maybe a lot of people might be feeling the same way and didn't know if that was the right way to be feeling. So I feel like if there's any budding creatives in here, I feel like that will really help them. So I love that response.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, I should say, like, that's, you know, that's not so different from every book release. Like, I know, at least for me, there's always been kind of, like, it's just, book launch day is always kind of strange. And part of being an author is, you know, you maybe have a platform of whatever size, but it's probably online, or it's just, you know, it's like you're people reading something you wrote, you know, but it's not like you're not going out and getting recognized on the street, you know, unless it's a very specific context, like a book festival and you're standing next to Adam Silvera, you know, but like it's, you know, so it's like all of this stuff maybe is happening in your Axel. Oh no.
I'll be back. There he is.
So maybe all this stuff is happening kind of in your online world, but, and, you know, and you're replying to people, and it's like, you know, feels very celebratory. And then in real life, you're like, okay, you know, I need to remember to like feed the cat too, and like laundry. So.
I feel like that's great though, because I feel like a lot of people, if their like audience or their career almost is solely online, it's really hard to like separate that out from your regular day to day. Like I know for me, if I'm like working on some art, I have to be like, okay, I haven't eaten in 5 hours. I need to go and like have something to eat or go and get a glass of water, and it's like just constantly reminding yourself to do that stuff. But it's nice to hear that doesn't change.
No, well, not for me anyway. Yeah.
Right, Axel, you got your next one?
Yeah. So another general question is like, with having loved Simon and loved Victor now, my question is, what did it feel like to have your so beloved universe expanded, but without being like 100% in control of it? How was that process?
A great question. Yeah, I mean, it's like definitely very scary in some ways, because, you know, any adaptation, you are relinquishing a lot of control. And, you know, the thing about Love Victor too is that like I have been really excited about Love Victor ever since I heard the concept and kind of who you know, the writers were centering and kind of who they plan to bring into the writer's room to tell that story. And so I've been genuinely and sincerely really excited for it. However, if I wasn't excited for it and I didn't want it to happen, it's kind of like when I signed the contract for Love Simon, at that time I signed off on sequels, spin-offs, and stuff. So I basically, what I'm trying to say is I couldn't have stopped it if I tried. I didn't try.
Okay.
But like, you know, but like this, you know, it's scary to think that like, oh, they can just like, if they had come to me with an idea that I was not into. There's, you know, like I could have tried to make my case, but legally, like, you know, I have no control over it, which is why it is just like, it boggles the mind. Like when people like come to me with like whatever, just like distribution complaints and stuff, I'm like,
Yeah.
you knew how little control I had over any of it. So
I feel like this is a good time to remind people you didn't write Victor. Like none of these characters came from your brain. And like obviously the distribution of the show is not your fault. Obviously people outside of the US have had struggles, but take it from someone from the UK. We found our ways. But you know, it upsets me seeing people kind of commenting like, oh, when can I get it? I'm from such and such country. It's like, you know, I think it's just a good time to remind people none of this is under your control.
Yeah, and I should say too, like I see where that's coming from, and like they're like everybody who was like, when can I get it? I'm in Canada or whatever. I'm like, I feel you. If I don't respond to you, it probably did. I mean, honestly, I probably just am not caught up and stuff, but it's not like I'm pissed off at you or anything.
No.
But what's harder to deal with are the people who are like, you know, Becky, I just want you to know that like I have been your fan since the very beginning, and I feel so betrayed that you moved Love Victor over from Disney Plus to Hulu because I don't have access to Hulu, and I think you need to understand that your readers like live outside the US sometimes. I'm like,
Imagine if you weren't aware of that by now. I mean, please.
Like I was like crying my eyes out, like, you know, like I just like you know, like being a people pleaser is like, this is not a good job for that. But like yeah, but like I don't know. But the thing about Love Victor is because I had worked with Isaac and Elizabeth before. I worked with Temple Hill, the production company, before, and I kind of had been discussing different aspects of it leading up to it, and I just, you know, they made it easy to trust them because I knew how much thought and care they were putting into it, and I knew what they had been able to do with Love, Simon. I knew kind of how important representation was, and I knew who, you know, I want to say this too. You know, I kind of caught a little bit of discourse talking about how, the writer's room of Love Victor is entirely like cishet people. That's
not the case.
Really not true, y'all. Like, and this information is it's easy to find online. Look on IMDb and you can actually see a list of some of the people involved in the writers' room, the directors of the episodes, Brian Tannen, who's one of the showrunners. Like, yeah, if there's one thing kind of I want you to know about this show, and this is not something that I can take credit for personally. This is like, you know, this is not, and like I don't take that discourse as a criticism of me, but I want y'all to know that about just the creators of the show and everything that that went into it, which does not mean that you have to connect with the representation. It does not mean that you can't like critique whatever element kind of may or may not be working for you, but like it's okay. Like it's, you know, it's okay if somebody kind of within the community has a different experience than you, and that doesn't invalidate kind of where they're coming from, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So my next question kind of ties into some of the stuff you were saying, because on the day the show came out, you spoke about how you couldn't imagine the Simonverse without Victor in it now, and I think we can all agree with that. I certainly can. It feels like he was always there, and he's so natural to the universe and the style. It's almost like you did write him. So I was wondering, were you like approached at any point about his characterization? Obviously you didn't have control over writing him in general, but I was wondering in terms of like different aspects of his personality, were you approached about any of that?
No, that's not something I was. Yeah, so my involvement, which was fairly limited. I mean, mostly cheerleader and kind of communicating things to the public before the Love Victor Hulu account went live. But yeah, I know Victor is not mine, but I love him like he is mine. He's like, and also like just like Michael Cimino's talent is absurd, and the entire cast. Like, I cannot tell you how much I love this cast of actors, like especially like the kid actor, you know, the squad, and you know, like I'm just.
I mean, if I slide right over here, you might be able to see my Michael and George posters in the corner over there. So I completely agree with you.
I just like, they're so talented, but also like so warm and good and like passionate about this project, and it just, like, to me it really shows. And you know, I felt like I could love this show in a very uncomplicated way. It was not, you know, a straightforward adaptation of my book, and it's just, you know, it was just like watching these people who I adore telling a story that I love, that I like. It is such a gift that I'm like even associated with it. I feel incredibly lucky to be associated with it, and
it wouldn't exist without you. Without your initial story, it wouldn't be here.
I mean, I feel so weird like taking any credit. I'll be like very, very hyper specific about what I'll take credit for. I'll be like, oh yes, Creekwood High School, and but,
quick secret.
quick secret, yeah. And weirdly, I don't know, like, this is a coincidence that I did, Isaac and Elizabeth, I think I did tell them this, but this is certainly not something they knew when they were developing Victor's character. But so Simon, the character, I got his name from my great-grandfather, Simon Goldstein, you know, who is actually, he's also Dan Fogelman's great-grandfather. I don't know if y'all, yeah, he's the other showrunner of This Is Us with Isaac and Elizabeth.
You know.
That's a complete coincidence, and I didn't realize it until I think after Love, Simon had filmed. But I got to tell him, I was just like, hey, so Simon is actually named after our mutual great-grandfather, and we're cousins, like, which is like,
so wild.
Like the best Jewish moment of my entire life. But so anyway,
crazy.
The really big coincidence is that I have another great-grandfather named Victor. Like, so
my mind.
Isaac did that. Like, they did that.
Wow.
Yeah.
We love the power of coincidence. Axel, you look shocked. So, Axel, do you want to say your next question? Or has Axel gone? Where has Axel gone?
Next question was about
there we go.
Love Simon and Love Victor and how they connected. Like, for example, like the cinematic parallels, like the complement of the shoes and the coffee shops, and
yeah.
Like, my question was like, how do you feel about that? You know,
I love it. I don't know how much some of those little parallels are intentional at all. Like, I just thought they were hilarious. I'm sure they were, because or I'm sure at least a lot of these parallels were intentional. But yeah, I mean, it felt like a little special, like, Easter egg for fans of the movie, and I definitely consider myself a fan of the movie. So.
And you know,
you're the biggest
also
fan
I wanted
of
to know, like, how complementing shoes seems to be like the Simonverse move, because even in Upside, which wasn't like in a movie, Reed's white sneakers are still like a thing, you know.
Right, you're so right. I didn't even
like,
make that connection until now.
We were talking about this last night because we did a little run through, and it was like, I didn't even clock it, and the amount of times I've read Upside is bordering on an issue. I was like, how did I not notice?
Yeah. I think maybe it's because, like, if you are a disaster and a hot mess and can't make eye contact with somebody you have a crush on, you're going to hyper focus on the shoes, maybe. Is that it? Like, So
we feel like it's officially like the Simonverse, like chain to flirting is compliment the shoes.
that's yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
We love that.
Okay, so my next question, is a bit of a fun one, is which character out of Love Victor would you say you're most like? And then I'm also firing this question onto Axel as well because I'm interested.
Oh.
And leave your replies in the chat. I want to see.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want to see everybody's replies in the chat. And if you don't know, there's like a BuzzFeed quiz that you can take.
Yeah.
Like, and also an adorable video of the cast taking the quiz, which is like very, very funny. Yeah, so I took it, and I think my result was accurate. Felix, I got Felix.
Yeah.
So
I would have said Felix, definitely.
Yeah. What about y'all?
Everybody wants to be Felix.
Have you taken it, Axel, or do you have like anyone you think you're most like?
I have no idea. I didn't know you were gonna ask me. Like, you kind of put me in this spot. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I would love to be a Felix, but I think I'm more of a Victor because, I mean, I'm like shy and like I don't like to talk about feelings and very confused in my head. But yeah, I think I would like to be a Felix, like outspoken and like out there. But yeah, definitely like a Victor, more reserved.
I mean, I took it and I got Benji. Which is hilarious because a group of my close friends have started coining me as the non-binary Benji, which is the biggest compliment. I'll take it.
I love it.
But like,
That's
I
awesome.
relate to him a lot, being like an out kid in high school, and like all the connotations that come with that, and like not being ashamed of it. I really related to him in that sense. So I mean, I'll take the compliment. I'll happily be Benji. That's fine by me. Oh, there's quite a lot of Benjis in the chat as well.
Oh,
Yeah, I was looking at that.
I'm
Wait,
definitely
any other
doing
choices?
even icon.
Though somebody said Miss Albright, and I respect that.
Oh, Miss Albright. Yeah, I do respect that.
Queen.
Oh, I love. Definitely Adrian. Oh my God, Adrian is an icon.
He is adorable.
That's a
We
great
stand.
Okay, Axel.
Oh yeah. Anyway. All right, so a little more serious question. So Simon and Victor's storylines are very different. Like the coming out process is very different. And given both circumstances, so my question was like, are you happy with the way the show brought up some of the uncomfortable truths about coming out to family, like where there's like openly, oh sorry, this might be like a little spoiler for anybody that hasn't read it, so sorry, I should have said that before.
Yeah,
but like,
spoilers if you haven't seen the show.
yeah, sorry.
Although I
So,
think,
like, yeah,
unless I'm mistaken about what you're about to say, I do think probably if you've read the reviews, you like.
True.
I think you're maybe familiar with some of this conversation, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty much on the trailer too, so
Yeah.
hopefully not spoilers. But yeah, so my question was like, how do you feel happy with how the TV show portrayed these like uncomfortable truths about like the coming out process and all that, Like,
Yeah, I mean, I loved where they went with it, and I think the first thing I want to say too is, my feelings about kind of either story, like Love Simon or Love Victor, like like that. I'm just like one viewer, so it really is all about kind of how it resonates with you in particular as you watch it. If that's something that like if there's something about it that you don't connect with, that doesn't invalidate your experience at all. Like one thing I really loved about some of the choices they made with Love Victor is I felt like it was pretty bold, and it was such a really cool choice in my opinion to artistically engage with some of the criticism of the movie, which, and I don't, I avoid reviews of my books. Like, don't tag me in those. I don't want them. However, I did read some of the criticism of the movie because it's not like as, like, I didn't write the movie, you know. So like, but yeah, and so like, and it definitely, you know, there were some interesting points that were made up, or that were brought up about, you know, just how limited Simon's experience could be, because, you know, Simon, I mean, and he's not supposed to represent the entire community. He is, at the end of the day, like one kid, but you know, he is, you know, he's white, he's cis, he's, you know, he's abled, he, like, you know, they're all tight. He's certainly got a lot of like economic privilege, you know, he's rich, you know, I don't know, but yeah, like he's, I think he's richer in the film than the book, because I did not picture, I did not picture a house that cute in the book.
Very beautiful house.
It's beautiful. Yeah, there's like any number of like privileges kind of that, you know, are a part of Simon's story. And you know, one of the things that, and you know, and I think, you know, a lot of the criticism of that came from not just the fact that, like, you know, the film only told that story, because I think most people hopefully realize that, like, you know, a film about one person is telling one story, but like also it just so happened that, unsurprisingly, kind of like that story is the one that gets told first, it seems like. You know, if there's ever anybody kind of dips a toe into kind of representing a group that hasn't been represented as much, it's like, you know, keeping it as, it feels like Hollywood is going to keep it as close to the like default as possible. And that's a very important conversation, I think. I'm not explaining it well, and I'm like oversimplifying a lot of like really intelligent discourse, but you know, just the idea of like, you know, this is, you know, just the story of maybe kind of one of the most privileged members of a valid marginalized community. And with Love Victor, I felt like, you know, and it's not like Victor's story is told and now we're done and like now everybody's represented, but like Victor took that story in a different direction. But not only that, but Victor also kind of directly engaged with that conversation where he's like, you know, he's like, screw you, Simon, like, you know, like my situation is nothing like yours. I just, you know, I think, I don't know. It's like, it's cool to make that a part of the narrative, you know, rather than just a thing that you feel bad about or like a failing of the movie. Because I don't think it is. I don't think it's productive, as productive to like see it like that. I think what's more productive is to, you know, take it as a call to action and yeah, make the story bigger.
I think for me, obviously, I'm white, so I don't have, you know, that side of the struggle. But I personally related to both Simon and Victor's stories, based on opposite sides of my family, because my mum's side of the family, very liberal and were very accepting as soon as I told them. But my dad's side of the family is heavily religious, and that was one of the biggest blockades in me coming out to them, and hence why there was a 5-year gap between me telling my mum and me telling my dad. So like, even if you can't 100% relate to the entire narrative, I feel like there's some aspects in there for everybody. And even if it's not just from the main character, even if it's from one of his friends or one of the side characters, there's something in it for everybody. And I think that's why the show has connected with as many people as it has.
I think so.
Okay, it's my question now. So I wanted to know, like, what parts of the show did you get to see being filmed, and what was like the atmosphere on set like in comparison to your experience on the set of Love, Simon?
Yeah. Oh, what a great question. Yeah. So I was there. This is y'all, this is like basically pure luck, but I was there for like maybe not the whole thing, but like much of episode 8, which is my favorite.
Jealousy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it wasn't such a coincidence. Like I wanted to be there. You know, I feel like okay, I'm gonna try to say this without spoilers. You know, there were a couple of kind of my babies who are going to be my, you know, my characters who are going to be involved in the show, and one of them I knew was not going to be filmed on the same day due to his schedule, but one of them was filmed in LA, and I did my best to try to plan my trip to LA so I would catch that day. Does that?
Yeah.
Following?
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're following.
Yeah. Okay. So it was a little bit deliberate, but it was also lucky. It was just like I did not know episode 8 was going to hit so hard though. But it ended up being perfect. So I was there for I was on set for 2 days, and one day I was at the Creekwood set with the squad, you know, like who were all doing detention, and the other day I was at the apartment in Brooklyn in LA. So, and so which was wonderful, and like for so many reasons, like it was absolutely surreal to see the high school. One of the things that was really different is, you know, Love, Simon, the movie was filmed on location in actual schools. There were 3 different schools that were used around Atlanta. So it was like where the book and the movie are set. And so like, you know, you were really like inside of a high school, and like, you know, you'd be camped out with like, you know, the video playback machines in like one classroom, and the extras are in a classroom, and like filming's happening in one classroom. And then this was that like they actually built a perfect replica of those, like the parts of the school that they used in a like soundstage. And so that was just like, it was like the most
interesting.
Yeah.
I assumed it was just filmed in a school like it was in the movie.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, you would think, because they like nailed it. And maybe they would have, except for that they were trying to make it look just like that particular school. So they like built it. And then like Victor's house, it's like you kind of walk through, and tucked away behind the school is like, you know, Victor's apartment and a couple of like rooms that are set aside for that. And you kind of walk through also, and then there's like the coffee shop. So it was like Disney World a little bit, you know. It's like where they like
I mean, I would pay for tickets.
Yeah, it's like Disney World but with less COVID, I think. So don't go to Disney World.
Yeah.
You've been told.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm seeing questions in the comments, and so I just want to make sure I clarified. The movie was actually filmed in a school, and in fact, it was filmed in 3 schools. So I'm just talking about Love, Victor with the soundstage. And the reason that Love, Victor was filmed in LA is because Isaac and Elizabeth are actually working on 2 shows simultaneously, and so they needed to be there for This Is Us as well. So
okay,
yeah,
that makes sense. I'm just gonna quickly ask something that ties in with the one I've just asked, because you kind of brought it up. What was it like having certain people reprising their roles for this show? What was that like for you? Because obviously you've had an experience with them prior.
Yeah, I mean, it was lovely. It's still so surreal to me. Like I just like, I don't know if I like met an actor until like fairly recently. Like actors seem like very just distant. It didn't seem like, you know, just real people with jobs. The authors seem like that too, to be fair. But yeah, so it was cool. Since the movie was filmed in Atlanta and I live in Atlanta, I was there a lot. Like I just straight up like forced my way onto that set as let me do it. It's like, they're like, you're not bored yet? And I'm like, no, I want to come back every day for the rest of my life. I eventually had to go on book tour, and I was like, I can't skip my book tour early. But I'm so sorry, HarperCollins. If anybody from HarperCollins, I did go on my book tour. Yeah, and I'm seeing, was the New York episode filmed in New York? So part of it was everything in the apartment, and everything that they could film in LA, they did. But I think there's a street, the street scene, and then a couple of shots of the back of the bar, like basically one actor was doing something on Broadway at the time and had to film in New York. So
no names mentioned. We're doing very well.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was just, it's just like lovely. I always feel like I'm like, oh my God, they're like never gonna remember me, if I see them again or what I saw them afterwards. And they do, like angels, I just like, I'm always like awkwardly reintroducing myself, and they're like, yes, I know, we know, like you were there a lot, like
you never left.
So.
Right, Axel, go ahead and ask yours because I kind of butted in. I'm very sorry.
So, in retrospect, do you ever envision that the universe would be so would have like the impact that it has had? Like,
no.
Very short answer there.
Yeah, no, I can't emphasize enough. Like, I did not think it would be published. Simon, the book, my debut is published in 2015, but it sold in late 2013, and it's always so, it's kind of bittersweet when people are kind of like, oh yeah, like, you jumped on the bandwagon. I'm like, no, like, we need diverse books and kind of a bunch of other like people within the community who were kind of pushing certain conversations and building upon earlier conversations. Gave so much to my book, and my team at HarperCollins, and like so many people were a part of why Simon blew up. But at the time when Simon sold to a publisher, like they were, there was a lot of gay YA, but I don't think it was necessarily seen as something they expected to like make a lot of money. It was very much a mid-list book. It's not a lead title.
I think they underestimated.
It's people. I think a lot of people discovered it through the movie when it was already like better known. But in the beginning, like, after the first couple of weeks after release, like you couldn't find it in Barnes & Noble for a long time. Even after some award attention and stuff, you still, like, it was like, I remember walking into, my Barnes & Noble and just being like, this is the Barnes & Noble, like, and by my Barnes & Noble, I mean the one I grew up going to, like the one in Simon's hometown, and like, it was like, baby, they're just sold out, and like,
that like is breaking my heart.
Yeah, they probably just sold their last copy.
I mean, I think people underestimate the time at which Simonverse came out, because, correct me if I'm wrong, obviously I'm not American, but it was a few short months after gay marriage was legalized in all 50 states, right?
I want to say that happened in June of 2016. Is that right? And Simon would have come out.
Hold on, I'm just gonna.
June of 20. Oh my God, yeah, no, June of 2015. I'm not sure. Simon came out before gay marriage was legal. It's so hard for me to remember like when it came out versus like when it was sold.
June 26, 2015, the Supreme Court.
2015. Okay, yeah. So you're right. Yeah. So Simon came out in April, and that happened in June. Yeah.
So I feel like it like came out at such a, pardon the pun, but I feel like it came out at such a moment where like everything was more like, it was more of a celebration instead of it being kind of like, I'm gonna go and purchase this gay romance novel, even though it's not legal. So I feel like, even though obviously you sold it in 2013, I feel like the period at which it came out was like so coincidentally brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, like not, I'm like, obviously, like Simon changed the entire course of my life, and it's a complicated thing, but yeah, I feel strange about, I feel this like every Pride Month. I'm like, I never advertise my books as like, you need to read these for Pride, or, it's not something that I want to like, financially benefit from, and I want to be mindful of kind of redirecting that outwards as much as I can and recommending other books and things like that, because, my biggest fear is that people will, just basically find my books and stop there. And like, that's not, you were missing out on so much if you were doing that. So
go and read more. There you go. Go and read more books.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of my questions is, this is where I start segueing a little bit into Love Creekwood territory. So if anybody is not comfortable with hearing about Love Creekwood, you're welcome to go. Thank you for joining us thus far. But you said, obviously, before Love Creekwood's release, that it would tie in with Love Victor, and it definitely did. When you first sat down and was like, right, Love Creekwood is happening, was it always your end goal to have Simon transfer to NYU?
A great question. Very early on in the process, it was basically like, and it all happened very quickly. And I think I talked about this in more detail. I'm not going to go over it necessarily again like I did at my launch, but for publishing timelines, like Love Creekwood was unbelievably fast. But it was like, I had decided I would be open to writing this college sequel, email-only sequel novella, And while we were in the process of just kind of touching base with Elizabeth Berger and Isaac Aptaker, the showrunners and writers, for Love Victor, just to kind of make sure, I'm like, I don't want to step on any toes. Like, is this something that you're comfortable with? Basically doing the courtesy that they did me with Love Victor, like I was thrilled with Love Victor. I don't think they would have had the right to tell me not to write Love Creekwood, as long as I didn't. Yeah, as long as I don't use any of their original characters. But yeah, so I asked them. They were thrilled. That's when I found out that the Simon character, like Simon and his cohort, are sophomores in college. They're second years rather than first years, and that, to me, that little window of opportunity of knowing that there was a year between like Leah on the Offbeat and kind of where I ended them in high school, and then where they pick up in Love Victor. I felt like that little year in between was my my opening for Love Creekwood, and realizing that like I had that opportunity to get Simon from the end of Leah on the Offbeat to like where he needs to be at the beginning of Love Victor, that ended up being kind of made the entire novella take shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in case anyone isn't aware, maybe they didn't watch your stream that you did on the day before the release. Becky wrote Love Creekwood in 2 weeks. In case you didn't know this, 2 weeks. And I said in an Instagram story shortly after that you are a superhero for doing that, and I stand by it fully. I cannot get my head around the fact that you did it so quickly and so beautifully.
Oh, thank you. I feel like I now regret like telling people that, because I feel like everybody who dislikes it now is going to be like, oh, like, well, like, what do you have to expect? She like phoned it in. I'm like, I promise.
Well, they can come and talk to me because
you know who they can talk to is Aisha Saeed, who was like, we were on book tour together at the time. So like,
everyone's amazed.
Someone
Someone asked if we can go back and watch the launch event. It's not available on Crowdcast anymore. I don't know if it's been uploaded to YouTube.
I think they were going to upload it. I feel like, yeah, Kara Slicks and More, I think, was going to upload it to YouTube with closed captions. I haven't checked. I can't watch myself on video, so I'm not going to check, but it's worth
go and have a look.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're now going to move on because we've actually got some would you rather questions that are Simonverse themed.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. So, Axel, do you want to start us off?
Alrighty. So my first one would be: would you rather go out with Martin, or only be able to eat golden Oreos for the rest of your life?
Okay, I see how it is.
Listen,
okay.
that's the nice version. Like, I'll tell you the old one.
I have some clarifying questions. So when you say go out with Martin, do you mean
like friendly? Yeah, definitely.
Do I have to kiss him? Like, do I have to?
No.
A relationship, or is it like I have to like?
No.
Can I yell at him? Can I hit him? Like,
oh.
I mean, that's up to you.
So, I really don't worry. I really don't like Martin. I would take going out with Martin as long as I can set the terms of exactly what that interaction is.
Okay.
Whether anything physical happens other than punching in the face. So, I would punch Martin in the face. So.
I think we all would.
Yeah.
And I want to hear everyone else. You guys answer along with us.
Yes.
I want to see what everyone would choose. Because when Axel sent me this question, I was like, as much as I would love to give an answer, we don't have golden Oreos in the UK. So I don't know how horrendous they are, whether it would be worth it. So I can't really give an educated answer.
Kind of, right? Am I using that right? It's like a so.
Okay, so my first one is you've gone to a carnival, you're just hanging out.
Okay.
But you're only allowed to go on one of these rides. Do you go to the Ferris wheel or do you go to the tilt-a-whirl?
Oh, the Ferris wheel. I can't. I'm nauseated on the tilt-a-whirl.
You and Brad will be there together.
I have grown up after a tilt-a-whirl ride. That is autobiographical. So, yeah. Yeah. Oh, no.
I would agree. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Are you good?
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I just lost Becky for a minute.
Oh, love that.
Oh my gosh. I'm reading the comments. I would take Martin out to the trash.
Alrighty.
I feel you. Yeah. These are great.
So actually going back to that question, the original, I got that one on Instagram, but I had planned it already. That was like one of my first ones, but it was either go out with Martin or kill Bram.
That was one sent in from Instagram.
Oh, with Martin. I would like kiss him if I had to. I would never. That's
what we said.
Yeah. Oh, that's like a no-brainer. Yeah. Oh my God, no, I would never.
Yeah, that's what we said.
Ever.
All right.
No. You think I'm Adam? Like, no, I don't like kill people in my books.
Last night, Axel told me that one, and I was like, I would go and have a million kids with Martin if it meant that I would harm Bram.
I know. I would. Yeah. I would quarantine with him. Yeah.
The thought of that just gave me some feelings that I didn't need.
So, would you rather go on a double date with Simon and Bram or Leah and Abby?
That's a good question. I feel like it could be really interesting with Leah and Abby. That would be because, I don't know. Like, they both would be embarrassing to go on a double date with. They'd be like, they're like so in love. They would forget I was there. They They would forget to talk to me. They were, like all four of them. I just I'm on a double date with each other. Like, I don't need to be there.
And then going off of that one, would you rather go with whoever the winner you choose, or Victor or Benji? And Benji.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you pick the winner from the last round,
okay,
goes between them. Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I like simultaneously pick all of the above, but also none of the above, because, like, on one hand, you know, I'm a grown-up woman, like, and I'm like,
I mean, let's pretend you're 16.
I shouldn't be going with high schoolers. Oh, but if I'm 16, I'm not getting any action, and so I'm like just straight up not going to do it.
That's the most relatable thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'm like, yeah, 16-year-old me is like, I'm like, I wonder what it feels like to hold hands. You know, like that's like no, yeah. So far, it was so far away. Oh, but these are great questions. I don't even know.
Okay, I feel like mine are a lot like more jovial. They're not as like thought-provoking as Axel's. But my next one is: would you rather go and have a kick around with Bram on the soccer pitch, just like not a proper match, but just like have a kick around, chat with him, or would you rather star in a musical and have to go over your lines with Simon?
I mean, I would definitely rather star in a musical. Like, I was a theater kid. For sure. Like me attempting to like kick a ball around with Bram is like, well, I'd be the one down there calling it an audition. Like, and so, I don't like. There's like a scene in Yaffe where I felt like I fully got to like embrace my sports side, and my sports side is like Simon and Leah trying to like kick a ball around with Nick. Like, where like Nick's like, no, you can't like touch it, or just like no. Like,
I might have to be the person going and playing soccer with Bram because everyone's saying musical with Simon.
Oh, definitely, Bram. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we should all be, you know, musical with Simon. It'd be amazing. Like
Simonverse the musical.
Perfect. Yeah.
So my next one doesn't give you an actual option. So it's either play basketball with Victor or soccer with Bram.
So you have to be sporty for this one.
That's hard.
For me, it would be the basketball because of the AC, you know?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay, wait. Is this like in the time of COVID, though? Because soccer's outdoors and you're not touching everything.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah.
Right. Quarantine's not happening. We're all allowed to wander around outside.
I can hardly imagine such a world.
I know, right?
I am okay. So we'll talk. You wouldn't guess it knowing me, but I've actually played just about every sport in my life at some point. So you're basically asking me if I pick my 4-year-old soccer self, where like per the pictures, I mainly spent that like staring up at the clouds, playing with my hair, which had a lot of like hair barrettes in it, while the ball rolled by. Or my middle school. I did the same thing. You did the same thing.
I used to play. I would be in the pitch playing with the grass.
Yeah, me too. Like, yeah, so that's my soccer history. My basketball history, I played basketball in middle school. And not only did I personally never get a basket, but the league that I played in, like for the last game, it was kind of like because we were all like 6th graders or something, like, you know, we were like 11. And so the coaches on both teams would always kind of let the kids who hadn't made a basket, like kind of have a clear shot for basket. They knew better than to give me that opportunity because they knew I would crash and burn. Like it was like they just didn't even want to put me through that.
I so relate to that.
Yeah,
I played basketball for a whole semester and I only made 1 shot.
That's one more than I made.
I mean, I've never played basketball like properly, but I'd have to go with soccer, because although that's kind of traumatic, because the last time I played soccer properly, I broke my ankle, so I might have to go with basketball.
Oh no!
I am the most Axel kid
no!
in
Yeah.
the world. It's terrible.
I
Can I
like.
play? Bhavna just said, "Can I play badminton with both of them instead?" Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
that's a
you
good
can.
idea. Wait, can I play Animal Crossing with Pokemon?
Quarantine Animal
Same.
Crossing.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Definitely.
Right. Is it? Yes. Wait. Whose go is it now? Mine. Okay.
Yours.
So you're at a house party. Who are you gonna pick to be your Beirut partner, Abby or Bram?
Oh. Bram. So we can have the handshake. Well, no, okay. Movie Bram. Book Bram doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he's like never all people frequent basically. But like, yeah, no, yeah. I'm like, let's be clear. We're talking about Movie Bram, who is like, he's like, Movie Bram is like Book Bram's inner fantasy of who he could be if he were cool. You know, he's like, but Movie Bram is exactly what Book Bram thinks is cool. So. Yeah, no, I'm gonna say Abby. I trust Abby. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think if I was going book characters, it would be Abby, but movie characters, Bram.
Yeah. All y'all who are saying Bram, just like seriously, just warn you, like,
yeah,
Book
go
Bram,
through the book again.
Book Bram's gonna make you drink all his beer. He's not gonna have beer. Like, he's just not. No.
Okay, Axel.
Alrighty. So, would you rather play Qatar with Felix or star in a play with Kyle?
Oh wait. I guess the play, right? Like, I feel like I'm always gonna pick the play, the theater. When y'all read Kate Waiting, you're gonna be like, okay, we get it. You're a theater kid, like. You know? Because Kate Waiting also makes like the Simon theater content look like child's play, like just.
I'm so excited for Kate Waiting. Can I just put that out there?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. My next one is: would you rather spill your deepest, darkest secrets in a Creek Secrets post, or announce it in the middle of a whole school football game?
That's a great question, by the way. I mean, definitely the post. Like, I feel like I'm always better in writing. You know, like, can you imagine me trying to announce my deepest secrets like live in person into a microphone or something in front of people? Like, I wouldn't get halfway through the first secret before I got distracted by another thought in my brain, and then it would have veered. Like, y'all would have to remind me to keep going with the secrets. Like,
we'd be like, tell us more.
Like, I would, at least with the post, I could like stay on task or edit it. You know. So.
I agree. I mean, like, either way, everyone's going to see it. So I would definitely pick the one that I have most control over, because my inner control freak says, let's write it.
Right.
Right. Axel?
Alrighty. So I think this is my last would you rather question. So
I've got
would you rather hang
afterwards.
with the so would you rather hang with the Simon Squad at Waffle House or the Victor Squad for an impromptu dance party?
Oh, well, that's hard. I mean, you know, the Simon Squad. I mean, I think they would say the Simon Squad at Waffle House. Like, that's just like my comfort zone. You know, I mean, then those are like Waffle House and like these characters that I invented and stuff. Like, I feel like I make more sense there. I don't know if I'm cool enough for a dance party with the like Love Victor Squad.
I mean, we saw Victor and Benji's dancing. I mean,
I know. I know. I don't think I have enough rump or whatever.
That would be me. Okay, right. My next one is: would you rather only be able to listen to the Hamilton soundtrack for the rest of your life, or only be able to listen to the Dear Evan Hansen soundtrack for the rest of your life? You cannot listen to the other one ever again.
That's not fair. That's
it's not supposed to be.
That's what I said.
That's not fair. No. Oh no, I can't choose. I can't choose. It depends
I
on
mean,
my
we chose.
mood, you know.
Yeah.
We made our decisions.
I what?
Me and Axel made our decisions about which one we'd pick last night.
You made your decisions. Yeah,
Adam Hansen.
I don't know. No, it's tough. I'm like, you know, like well, Hamilton is like more content, you know, it's like a longer soundtrack. So that's something to consider, right?
Very true.
Irvin Hansen's like easier for me to sing along with because they don't sound quite as embarrassing as like when I try to rap along with the Hamilton soundtrack. But yeah, you're like asking me, oh, like this, like I can't, I refuse. No, I won't do it. So,
why did I know
Boris
this
will
was
be
gonna
the
happen?
Yeah, I won't. This is like, yeah.
Axel, do you have any more?
I right now.
Okay, I'll just carry on then for a little minute.
Yeah.
Would you rather? So this is like for treats. Would you rather only be allowed Oreos or Reese's? Again, you can't have the other one ever again.
Oreos. I mean, I love Reese's, but Oreos. Yeah, Reese's are my husband's thing, really. Like, yeah, so that's all for him.
Like,
that whole peanut butter.
You can look at the Reese's.
Yeah.
You can look at them. We'll let you
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
And then, would you rather only be able to eat the original Oreos or the Halloween Oreos?
Oh, I mean, I would take if I could have Halloween all year. Or are you talking about I only get Oreos in October?
No, you'd have a stash of Halloween Oreos all year round.
Okay, I pick Halloween. Yeah.
Okay. See, I spoke about this in a live stream on Instagram a while ago. We have such limited Oreo flavors in the UK. Like the Halloween flavored ones, like we don't have those. Golden Oreos don't exist. Like the massive packets don't exist. We're so deprived.
Well, I will say too, like, and I feel like this is a controversial opinion, but so the Halloween ones are just double stuffed with orange food coloring, which is why
that's what I told you.
That's what Axel told me.
Right, but there's some kind of like fall vibe in the air that does give them like an extra seasonal glow, maybe. But like, it's if you want the Halloween Oreo experience, I would have double stuff and maybe incorporate some food coloring.
That'll be my DIY for the weekend. Okay, so I've just realized there was a question I had written down that I didn't get to ask you. But it starts off with that I wanted to thank you for the existence of Skylar in Love Creekwood, because it's so important, particularly for me. I'm probably biased, being non-binary myself, but normalizing having non-binary and gender non-conforming friends and it not being a huge deal, because Simon doesn't make a huge deal out of it. He's like, yeah, it's a soft-spoken non-binary kid is how Skylar's described, and that's the end of it. So I wanted to thank you for that. And obviously in Love Victor, we have Kim, who is beautiful and amazing. But obviously I can't personally thank you for Kim, but I can for Skylar. And I was wondering, do you have a specific image of Skylar, like, in your brain? Because I would kill to draw them, but there's not, like, huge, there's no physical descriptions for me to go off. So I would love to know if you've got...
I headcanon Skylar is you.
You can't just say that and expect me to be okay.
Self-portrait.
I'll just post a selfie later and be like, ta-da!
Draw yourself taking down the libertarian edgelord.
Catch me changing my display name. Okay. I really wasn't expecting that answer. I'm a little bit... Whoa! So I want to go on to questions that we got from Instagram. Axel, I don't know if you've got any written down?
Not from Instagram, no.
Okay, so this will just be me. Hello. So I had to cherry pick. Obviously, people here are mostly from Instagram. So if I don't ask you a question, I'm really, really sorry. I did have to whittle it down because there were a lot. But thank you so much to everyone that sent one in. I love this one, which was just, all in all, what was your favorite part of being able to go back into the Simonverse? Because obviously you had originally said that Leah on the Offbeat would be the final part of the Simonverse. And I remember when you announced that, my heart broke just a little tiny bit. But what was it like being able to go back into something that you had originally said was closed off?
Yeah, well, I meant it when I said I wasn't going back in. So I promised you I just didn't know. Gosh, there's a lot that I love. I mean, definitely the most fun was getting to write Drunk Simon again. That's my greatest joy. You know, my moments are all in the voice of Drunk Simon. But yeah, I think it was fun to be able to like dip into this near future version of these kids who I've kind of gotten to see grow up and usher into like young adulthood, I guess. And also like to see their relationships grow, you know, and it was a little bit, it took a little bit of calibration because, you know, you have one couple that's been together like a year and change longer than the other couple, you know, so they're very different places. And I did not want to, you know, invalidate the newer relationship, which is a relationship that I believe in equally. They're just newer, you know, at the time of Love Creekwood. But so I guess that was fun to play around with. And yeah, to get to like do Taylor a little bit too.
Of course she goes to Harvard. I remember when Clark said that in the stream. Of course she does. Of course she does. Audrey just commented something hilarious where how you said that you headcanon Skylar as me, even though you are the canon. You make the canon.
You know what, Audrey? That's right. I am. Like, yeah. Okay, so it is officially canon. Yeah.
I feel like I need to make a speech. I want to thank my mom. I want to thank my dad. Okay, so next one. Whilst writing Love Creekwood, who was your favorite like pairing of emails to write?
Oh yeah,
or which ones do you think maybe came more naturally, or
right? Yeah,
it's up to you how you answer.
It's interesting. Like, I mean, most naturally, definitely always for me seems to be Simon. I click right back into him. Like my inner monologue is similar to him, I think. You know, I actually didn't even know, like, I realized through writing Love Creekwood that, like, you know, I remember right after it came out, Epic Reads or somebody did like a bunch of Instagram stories where they're like, which, you know.
Yeah, I saw those.
Where are you? And I was like, I don't know if I could have answered that question. I would have overthought it maybe in January or something. You know, I would have been like, oh, I relate to all of them, and I have put a lot of myself in all of them, and that is very true, you know, and I've given parts of myself to all of them. But after I wrote that, I mean, there's just something to be said for like how easily I fall back into Simon, you know. Yeah, the hardest write is Bram, because I feel a lot of pressure to make him sound really, really smart. So
okay. And this one I loved because it's not anything Simonverse specific, but do you have any book recommendations for those who potentially struggle reading? Because this person, I'm obviously not going to say names, but they reached out to me and they said, because I recommend books quite a lot because people ask for them, but a lot of the books I recommend are very lengthy and very kind of like descriptive, because that's just the kind of books I enjoy reading, but I understand that they're not for everybody. So they were wondering if you had any that you could recommend.
I do. Actually, what a great question. And I would say like my go-to author for this, if I were to name like one author that you should have on your radar, maybe she already is, Nick Stone very intentionally writes books for like a broader range of readers than a lot of us do, because she's you know, I mean, it's so deliberate, like you know, if you look at her books, like especially like Dear Martin is like that, you know, it's like not much thicker than Love Creekwood, and you know, and that's not because she didn't like think of a lot of stuff to put in it. Like she painstakingly edited that down because, you know, she like she didn't just want to reach the kid who has like a stack of books this high on their nightstand,
I feel like I'm being called out
here.
Same.
No, I mean, I'm that kid, but yeah, not every kid is, and it's like they're so I would say like all of Nick Stone's books I would definitely recommend because they're like voicey and accessible, but they are like not at all like oversimplified or anything. Like she just recognizes that like you can talk about these complex things like in an accessible way without holding back on any of that nuance, and so yeah, I recommend literally one of Nick's books. Yeah.
Axel, do you want to say what you said last night? Because I feel like
I think like recommendations like common for people that are not like as big readers or lengthy readers, like it would be graphic novels, and some of my recommendations for LGBTQ is Check Please, Bloom, Heartstopper, so like there's a lot of graphic novels out there that that correlate with Simon and in a little bit, touching on these LGBTQ subjects, and
I didn't actually tell you this morning, but I actually went and bought them all on Amazon because you recommended them last night. I was like, because I don't read graphic novels. I think I maybe own one, and that's not even a graphic novel, it's poetry. So like I feel like that's something I could get into, so write those down, people, and go and check them out. And then someone asked what your favorite scene is in Love, Victor, because obviously again it didn't come from your brain, so you're kind of watching it as a viewer with us. So I think a lot of people asked that question. I think I counted at least 15 people asked the very same question. People want to know.
Okay. Can I pick more than one? Can I do like
okay, just because you're you, I'll let you pick more than one.
Okay. I'm gonna pick 3.
Okay.
One of them is when is the Call Me Maybe performance with the guitar, and then like it pans and you just see like Victor back there just like looking like so lost and precious and like confused, and it's just like
in that moment we were all Victor.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's one.
Just to put it out there is a 20-minute version of that clip on loop in YouTube. Just a PSA,
How did they make it 20 minutes? Is it just like replaying it?
Yeah.
Yep.
That is a very good idea. Thank you.
I can't lie. It's something I listen to more than once a day, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
No joke. That you were living your best life.
Carry on.
Okay.
Yes, right.
The like found family, and this is one that I got to see get filmed, but like the found family in the apartment, and just the and Victor getting to like meet these New York kids who like immediately accept him, and just like that whole like lovely just transition from him being like so uncertain and uncomfortable to like really just feeling like a part of that little community. I love that. And then the last one is the handing of the jacket, the passing of the jacket. So
basically the entirety of episode 8 was just me kind of intermittently crying and screaming. Episode 8 was a lot for everyone, I think. I think again with episode 8, if I could say my favorite scene would have to be between Victor and Bram, where Bram is showing Victor that there's no one way to be gay, because I feel like that's still a message that people both from outside and within the community are still struggling to grasp. Like, you can't just walk down the street and go, oh, that person's gay, because people still hold that kind of attitude, and I think it's such a good way to show that that's not the case. And obviously the one quote that Bram said that I love is, the one thing you can't be is afraid, and it's just the truest thing. And I feel like it resonated with a lot of people, whether they're still in the closet or have been out for the past 6 years. You know, I feel like it resonates with everybody. So I just wanted to shout that one out because I love it. And then I had this one. I feel like I've watched something where you've answered it before, but I couldn't quite place it. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you anyway. Did you ever at all struggle writing a main character of the opposite gender to you? Obviously not just Simon, obviously you wrote Arthur. So yeah, people were wondering whether that was ever, did you like consciously think I'm writing this as a 16-year-old guy, or I'm just writing as a 16-year-old?
Yeah, I never struggled with it in that way. I mean, I've struggled with writing, getting into any character's head is hard, especially when you're just starting, you know, playing around with that story, but in that voice. But it's always been like, I'm trying to find Simon's voice or Arthur's voice or Jamie's voice. I'm not ever me consciously trying to like masculinize my voice in any way, or you know, trying to make or trying to make my voice sound younger, or you know, it's about kind of a specific character in my head and getting closer to that target, I guess.
Okay.
That makes sense,
yeah. I feel like I've heard you answer it before, and I couldn't for the life of me remember. I sat and watched one of your interviews that was like an hour long, because I thought it was that one and I just couldn't find it, and it was,
oh my god, I'm so sorry.
me.
I'm so, that's like kind of a like, would you rather go on a date with Martin or like watch an hour of me talking? And I'm like,
no,
I'm like Martin all the way. Like, I'm just like, I could not let myself for an hour.
And then someone asked kind of what careers do you envision the Creekwood crew going into after they graduate?
This is always such a tough one for me, because I'm like, I mean, you have to remember, I'm the worst person to answer this because I didn't know what my career was going to be. Like you know, I'm the person who I got a doctorate in clinical psychology and became a psychologist, and then did a full pivot, like, and have a different career. So I don't know. I think, I don't know. I mean, like Simon,
I feel like Simon would be very similar to you. He'd like be like, right, I'm gonna do this, and then he'll have a moment where he's like, no, we're gonna do something totally different.
That's 100% true. I just don't know what the things are, but yes. So.
Okay, so whoever asked that one, sorry.
Well, I would love to hear. I mean, it's more. I mean, my failure is your opportunity, because it is wide open world for your fan fiction, your future fan fiction. I would be thrilled if like anybody wanted to explore that. I think that would be cool.
The fan fiction writers will leap on that one. Let me tell you.
I will do it. Yeah, just don't break up my couples, and then it's, you know, the world. I mean, do what you want. Like, I will not sue you or come for you, or like, I will not know. So.
And then going on from, obviously we've talked about books for people who struggle reading. This in a way segues on, and it's just, who are your favorite YA authors as of right now? And any up and coming authors that you want us all to know about?
So I struggle with this question of favorites, because the thing is like, it's like the most innocent question in the world, but for me, as like a YA author whose friends are all YA authors and who has like anxiety and hates hurting people's feelings, and it's like terrifying for me to imagine. I'm like, who am I going to forget? Like, who I can't choose between my friends. I can't. So instead, I'm going to like answer a related question. I'm going to, I'm going to tell you.
I'm sorry if I put you on the spot or anything. I didn't.
No. This is like a question. This is like a basic YA author question. I'm asked this always, and I'm like, there's plenty of books I want to talk about. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm not picking some of my friends over the others. And yeah. Okay. Okay, three that I've read very recently that I absolutely adored. One, I feel like this is like such an obvious book that I was gonna love. Like it was like I knew I would love it. Everybody knew I would love it. But You Should See Me in You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson, which came out a month or so ago, maybe. But it's like it's so cute. Like it's like it's a prom book, and it's like the love stories of FF, and it's like an anxious little protagonist. Like she's like so sweet, and I just yeah, it's a very voicey and like romantic and kind of introspective book, but it's introspective in a way that like it's to me it was like fast paced, but then like kind of this like nuance to it. I just thought it was brilliant. I just finished Ronnie Davis's When the Stars Lead to You. That is another one that's already out.
Sorry, I'm just making a note of these.
It's it is. I'm gonna post about it too. So like, yeah, because I haven't posted about Ronnie's book yet. Because I literally just finished it. It's first of all, it is like absolutely it's like gut wrenching at times, but like it very much feels like you were reading about friends. So you were like, I felt like I was right there next to the protagonist, you know, like I just felt very much like I was in it. It's a very, very like clear-sighted look at depression. That's something kind of that the love interest is grappling with throughout the book. And I want to give trigger warnings too for this book. It's definitely trigger warnings for severe depression, self-harm, and suicide attempt. So just know that going into it, it is. And I say this, and I hate to like invoke my psychology career because like I am not a practicing psychologist. I'm not licensed, but like you know that somebody who was a psychologist, like I can't speak for everybody, but I found it to be very sensitively, just thoughtfully, beautifully handled exploration of that. And then I'm not gonna talk too much about this this now because it's not out until next year, and I know that's annoying, but just something to get on your radar.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you read my books, like this is a no-brainer. You're gonna love it. But Sophie Gonzalez's Perfect on Paper, obsessed with it. It's like so it comes out in I want to say March maybe of 2021. And it's about like just like it's like a girl who thinks she knows a lot more than she knows, and she's giving actually very good advice. Like she has this like anonymous advice giving thing going on, but there are a lot of things like about her own life that she's like maybe not as self-aware about, and it's like kind of pushes all my buttons. It's hilarious. It's adorable. I love it. Like just yeah.
I'm gonna
like,
keep an eye out.
On your radar, yeah.
Okay, so those were all the ones I pulled from Instagram. I personally do have one more Love Creekwood based one. Yeah. Because like for me, as someone who is moving to college, and to anyone here that's British like me, no, I'm talking about university, but I'm trying to use Americanism, you know. As someone who's going off to college in September, I have a feeling that I'm going to start to relate to Love Creekwood even more once I move, because obviously it's about kind of missing each other and distance and all that, you know, stuff that comes with the territory. And I was wondering, did you pull any of your own experiences with moving off to college into the writing of the book? And did any specific characters get any specific bits or yeah?
Yeah, I mean, very much so. I wasn't in a relationship, you know, so that wasn't a part of my experience. But you know, they're just, you know, there was a lot of kind of introspection, like basically everything that kind of Simon and Brand in particular, like moping about with kind of memories and time and kind of the inability to like go back and re-experience things like that's, not only like tapping into like a college feeling for me, but like I've been like that my whole life. Like I miss every, like, I miss the last thing always, I'm like, I'm already pissed at myself because there's going to be something about quarantine that I'm going to miss, I'm sure, like I'm like, so, but it's, yeah, so I think, just like a lot of the kind of emotional beats are pulled either right from my college memories or just other times of my life. I've moved a couple of times, and I've I went to college and then I moved to DC, and then I was in Atlanta for a year, and then I was back in DC, and then I was in Atlanta. So I've got a couple of friend groups like scattered all around. And I think kind of the challenge with every YA book I write, but certainly this one is in particular is, with social media and technology and just some of the kind of ways that people communicate, like that really has changed the landscape in some ways that like some of this I can't relate to. And so that is really important kind of for me too. That's like, maybe I'm pulling from more recent experiences, or I'm straight up like researching. I'm like, what is going on with this kind of thing at Haverford right now? Like, so.
I think what you said about introspection is probably going to really resonate with me. Because a lot of people, I get this question a lot on Instagram, obviously because my account is art, but I'm not studying art at university. I'm actually doing a neuropsychology degree.
Awesome.
So I'm going to be learning a lot about kind of emotions, and I feel like I'm going to end up putting a lot of that into myself and being like, let's emotionally process everything that's happened in the last like 5 years. So I feel like I'm going to relate to like the introspective aspect a lot. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Oh my gosh!
Because I feel I feel like I feel like I'm just getting like up to their like same pace in life, and it's kind of like very weird as someone who was reading, Simon as like a 14-year-old kid, just like, will I ever be like this? And now I'm kind of like catching up. It's very surreal. So that's all the questions I've got from here. But we do have some questions on the app. Axel, do you want to take it? Should we all take it in turns?
And I want to give you a heads up too. I probably have about like 10 more minutes, if that's okay. I have a phone call a little bit later, and so so I will try to answer as many as I can as quickly as I can, and not like go on and on as long as I can. Okay.
I mean, for me, it's 10 p.m. So like,
it's
totally fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to see if there's like, what were some of the challenges or possible issues with the concept of the series? I feel like that one would take a while, so I'm very sorry, but we'll.
Yeah, I'll give like. Okay. I may not give the full answer, but I'll throw out like something that was challenging.
Oh, okay. In summary, did you ever want? Obviously, you can't, but did you ever want to write Victor in your own words? Was that ever something you like craved to do, or were you fine with the show being the show?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have had Victor make a cameo in the novella. It just wasn't. And actually, Isaac and Elizabeth totally wanted that too, but it legally, like from Disney and stuff and Fox, we wouldn't have been able to get the rights in time. But I would, I mean, I wouldn't have. I don't feel like I could do Victor justice, like as a point of view character, but just as like, an email or something in what I would have done that if I legally could have. Yeah.
Okay, and then the lovely Vavna, she says, what is there like anything in particular in a character that you love writing about?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I love writing characters who surprise themselves in some ways. Like I like writing characters who are, just not as self-aware as they think they are, or they think they like somebody and then like another love interest swoops in and like that's the real love interest, something like that. I like
Okay. We were briefly talking about this before we went live, but someone said they saw a rumor of a What If It's Us movie adaptation. Can you give any details on that, whether that's true or not?
Okay, so that's the rumor. That was a legitimate announcement from a couple of years ago, and there are like various behind the scenes kind of things happening, but unfortunately not anything that I can talk about right now. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Someone
Thank
asked, do you think Leah and Pilar will be good friends because they think they have similar personalities?
They would be. Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about it, but oh my gosh. Yeah, that's like my platonic OTP now. Like, oh,
there we go. Confirmed, guys.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
That one I have a feeling would be a very long one. Is there anything about one of your books you kind of wish you could go back and change?
Yeah, I mean, more than one thing, but if I were to pinpoint one thing, it's always going to be that line in the Simonverses where he's like, I think like lesbians and bisexual girls might have it easier, like it's like, I don't think I sufficiently unpacked that as, like I think I thought I was writing Hula Simon, but I don't think I unpacked it on the page, and I don't think I did what needed to be done to make that not feel like a punch in the face, kind of. And that's something I've talked about that before, but that's, if I could change something, it would be that, I guess. And I feel like in a way, part of my entire goal with Leah on the offbeat, it was like a long form rebuttal to Simon's statement there. Yeah. So
proving him wrong. So someone asked about being able to watch Love Victor outside of the US. Can I go completely off the record? Nobody sue me here. DM me on Instagram. That's all I'm going to say. DM me on Instagram. I will be very happy to help you. But we'll move swiftly on. Right, let's have a look.
I think that's the time we have.
Yeah, I think
without going over time, so
yeah, we've come to.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you all too for watching.
This has been the most surreal experience of my life. I wish I was kidding, but I'm really, really not. Obviously, we've been talking about Love Creekwood and the importance of saving the game. I would be saving the game right now. This would be my save the game moment. So thank you both so much for being a part of it, and thank you to everyone who's watched this. Obviously, Axel and I are not professionals at this.
You're amazing. Yeah, no, I mean,
but this has been so incredibly fun. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I don't really know how to end this. I don't want it to end.
No.
Thank y'all so much, and thank you, Becky, for joining us. Appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all.